40-ounce beer, he smoked a pack of cigarettes, and he drank some coffee, and he breathing on you. Would you like that?
I wouldn't like it.
So imagine what Stafford was feeling with Von Miller in his face on a consistent basis.
Plus,
or even thinking about Von Miller.
The Bills, both sides of the ball. By the way, did it feel like the Eagles were almost like a little mini Bills in the sense that both sides of the ball, they looked real good? You know what I mean? Like, so far this season, the Bills have been the best team in football, clearly. The Eagles looked like a little mini version of that to me. Mobile quarterback, making all the throws, dominant defense. You know, they really rolled. I mean, again, 24/7 doesn't explain the game.
No, I think when you look at the Bills, though, for 2 games against the Rams and then the Titans, they went from the first quarter to fourth quarter unleashing, right? Where the Eagles, you know, they the first game, won a game, was a little clunky along the way, and they got out of there with a W. Where they dominated the Vikings last night, where I turned the game off early from the Bills. At that point, it was time to go back and forth. I wasn't just sitting there watching the Bills game. The only time I was switching from Troy and Buck in the Eagles game to go back to the Bills because it was
game.
It was more interesting.
How prolific the Bills' offense is that they had their first punt of the season last. Is the head coach of the New York Giants now and wondering if that offense is going to miss a beat. Ken Dorsey.
They haven't punted in 4 of the last 7 games, and one of those games was against the Chiefs in the playoffs where it seemed like they didn't punt.
That's
unreal.
Good. That's good for Ken Dorsey, though, because I was 2 games in. Their schedule, as they like to say, the slate of games coming up for them is going to be tough. They're not going to wind up being a just run through the NFL. Now, their schedule, I'm telling you, they got the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati's, and they still got the Pittsburghs. They still got tough games in front of them. They got Miami, Jay, your team, your guy, Tua. They got him. They got to go down to Miami. I mean, all of those sort of things could come to the second seed within the AFC conference, but by no stretch of imagination is this going to be a cakewalk for this team.
At Dolphins, at Ravens, home versus Steelers, at Chiefs, home versus Packers.
I'm not worried.
That's not easy.
If I were them, that would not be my concern. If they keep playing football like this, they should win those games. The question is this: I look like this in the beginning of the season, I need to look like this at the end. But if they keep playing like this, none of those teams are going to beat them. Is there any doubt they're the best team in the NFL? At this moment, I let New York have its weather moment in the fall when it's not raining.
Out here too. In your arms, and I don't know, you're looking like a teacher.
Let's keep talking about this.
Is his legs crossed?
Yeah, they cross.
I can tell.
It's when it gets tight.
No, I can tell they're crossed.
Jay got my number,
You're
man.
taking the Vikings?
Oh, I was doing this. Hold on.
I was like, you're taking the Vikings?
Monday parlay results. I would like to say ahead of time that I won my DraftKings league. Now, Jalen Hurts smashed it. 239.5, or a hook, as Key says, was the over-under. He hit 333. So, Key, you had almost 100 yards over the over-under. You got it. Jay.
Easy.
Had Buffalo. They were given 10 points.
Easy.
So he's like, yeah, they're gonna cover that. They did it easily. Won by 30. And I looked, and Minnesota was on the road.
You chose Kirk Cousins on the road in prime time Monday Night Football.
Well, I wasn't right about that, was I, Jay?
Yeah, I don't know why you did that, Max. I tried to tell you.
Because let me tell you what my thinking was.
It's not even about Kirk Cousins as much as it is about that team is a good team. There's no question about it. They're a solid team. But when you look at it, that youth on the Philadelphia Eagles side is vicious.
Yep.
And if you negate and you take out Justin Jefferson, like they did yesterday with Darius Slay and company.
Slay was great.
And you depend on Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's best years are way behind him, man.
Mm-hmm.
They so far behind him. I hear people that, oh, the Vikings got the best receiving core. I'm like, where? Who? Outside of Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen is at least 4 years removed from the guy that we once remember as the guy.
Right.
And so I looked at that and I'm like, nah, that's not. They're not.
But you know what? The way they
Max,
looked
I'm
week
jump in
one,
for
Jay.
1 second, though. I hear you. My only thing is Kirk Cousins is now 2-10 in Monday Night Football.
Yep.
So, to me, as a quarterback, in those big moments, I've yet to see him arrive, right? He personifies mediocrity to me. And for him to throw 3 interceptions last night, just to see him be picked apart, that's kind of who they are in those type of games. That's why I went the opposite way.
I agree. May I defend myself?
Sure.
So
you thought they'd make the turn?
No, yeah, here's the thing. I've been killing Cousins for years on that. How many times have I said he's an empty calorie stat guy, right? If you need 8 yards, he gets you 6. I saw that forever. He was awful in prime time, didn't want him, wouldn't want him as my quarterback. I'm rooting for people generally. I want to see them do well. And so he won in prime time. I started noticing those calories started stop being so empty. He started playing more winning football. And then I see them week 1 look the way they did. And I thought, maybe he's turned the corner. I got a hunch he's turned the corner, but I was not right. Kirk Cousins is who he is. He's a middle-of-the-pack type quarterback who does not excel under the bright lights. But what Key said is right. The Eagles have, on both sides of the ball, they got real talent, and they totally controlled that game. What was it, 24-7 at the end? Right, 24-7, it's up on the screen. It felt like more than that. It felt like by the half, you thought it was going to be 38 to something, Yeah. Not much.
Would you like to tell people our overall parlay record?
No.
No, you don't want to talk about it?
I don't.
I think we should talk about it. Key's 2-1. I'm 1-2. Max is 0-3.
As I said, it's a stupid segment. We shouldn't do it anymore. That's how I feel about it.
It's all right.
Whose idea was this segment anyway?
When I take that, it's early season.
I hate this segment.
Wait, how am I 2-1?
So far, you hit on 2, you missed 1.
We did Thursday, and we did, okay.
Have we hit any parlays?
Max.
Parlay. And obviously, if one of the members is 0-3, there's no way to hit a parlay, right?
Their parlays, they just faded us. That's what you do.
Right.
That's what Yates
Yeah,
and
they
these guys do.
faded
They
us.
fade
Yeah.
From hitting a single parlay. Single-handed.
There you go, Max.
Well, that's when it becomes all about.
I changed the first one. What did I took? I took the under on Stafford's. Should have stayed with the under.
One report you heard on the show, all of a sudden changed your mind.
Yeah. Oh, his elbow's fine. It's all nonsense.
Who?
Stafford.
They couldn't protect him.
Yeah, it may not.
Come on now. They couldn't protect him.
All right.
He still put the ball in the air. They just couldn't protect him. When you got Von Miller breathing down, have you ever had Von Miller breathing down your neck, Max?
I've never experienced Von Miller's breath on my neck.
Not on.
Not Von Miller, but imagine a dude rolling up to you at the local liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
He just chewed 8 cloves of garlic.
Yeah,
he had
right.
a 40-ounce beer.
Mm-hmm.
He smoked a pack of cigarettes, and he drank some coffee, and he breathing on you. Would you like that?
I wouldn't like it.
So imagine what Stafford was feeling with Von Miller in his face on a consistent basis.
Plus,
or even thinking about Von Miller.
The Bills, both sides of the ball. By the way, did it feel like the Eagles were almost like a little mini Bills in the sense that both sides of the ball, they looked real good? You know what I mean? Like, so far this season, the Bills have been the best team in football, clearly. The Eagles look like a little mini version of that to me. mobile
Yeah, but
quarterback, making all the throws, dominant defense. You know, they really roll. I mean, again, 24/7 doesn't explain the game.
No, I think when you look at the Bills, though, for two games against the Rams and then the Titans, they went from the first quarter to fourth quarter unleashing, right? Where the Eagles, you know, they the first game, won a game, was a little clunky along the way, and they got out of there with a W. Where they dominated the Vikings last night, where I turned the game off early